Welcome to Doing It My Way by Beata Matras, a podcast about project and product management, communication, brand, and IT. All these topics will definitely improve and have a positive impact on your career. So join me today, subscribe, and expect a new episode every week. Thank you. Today, we're exploring the transformative world of artificial intelligence with Aleksander Piskorz, a former tech journalist. Hello. A former tech journalist who has turned his insights into practical AI-powered skills for non-techies and marketing teams. Aleksander is on a mission to make understanding AI as easy as nailing a dad joke. And believe me, his insights are as sharp as his humor. So welcome, Aleksander. It's great to have you here.
Hello. Sorry for saying hello a bit earlier, but that was a nice introduction. Thank you.
No worries. Alex, can we start by you sharing a bit about your journey? What influenced your career path and led you to where you are today in the field of AI and freelancing?
I think this is the most common question that I get, and I'm always trying to do some kind of the biggest TLDR as possible. So because my journey is quite complex, but I will try to simplify it as much as possible. So yeah, I was always involved in the tech sector, within the technology market, within the technology work of some kind, and there's also my biggest passion and my biggest hobby. So I think it's quite good. So first of all, I started as a tech journalist. I was a journalist for about 10 years maybe, and I was covering the tech events from around the world. I was writing about some new technologies, mostly about 5G, about cloud technologies, about some consumer products, and I was working for Interia Group. This is the biggest Polish media outlet, so I was getting a lot of advantage when it comes to seeing these innovative things and innovative products and stuff in the real world. And I remember one event that changed everything. This was in 2017, as I can remember. My current boss in my journalistic days came to me and said to me Huawei wants to take you to China for 2 weeks to show you some new technologies related to AI and some of the cloud technologies and some advancements within these technologies. And I was there already aware of the AI, and I've decided to try. And I was like, okay, I always wanted to go to Asia, and let's do it. So Huawei showed me the headquarters of the company. We were in a couple of the Chinese cities, but the most important part of this trip was the AI conference in Shanghai. And that was the first time when I saw the power of artificial intelligence. Of course, it was way before ChatGPT and large language models, but it showed me that this is a very, very capable technology, and I want to put my hands on it as much as possible, because I was then covering mostly 5G as an advancement, some network stuff, and I was writing a lot about cloud technologies and consumer products, as I said. So my journey is quite complex because I started working purely in IT, in tech. Then I got fired because my team that was in Krakow back in the day was moved to Warsaw, and they fired us, and I was left without the job. It was a fantastic moment because, as I can remember, it was 2008, after the financial market crash in the crisis. So I was I had two options basically: don't work or work for 5 PLN per hour. So I've decided to try writing about technology, because technology always interested me, and it led me to being a journalist. And then I was working with some startups in marketing departments, because I was trying to combine my journalistic skills and my writing skills with some other creative stuff. So I'm this kind of person who likes to get hands-on on various projects as much as possible. So I'm doing multiple things at once. It was not only 9 to 5, but also some side hustles. This is a very very nice word for doing things around your full-time job. So yeah, long story short, I worked as a journalist, then I worked with some startups, and now I'm just a freelancer and I'm consulting early stage startups in communication, in marketing, also within the AI space. So I'm trying to keep up the pace with technology. It's not easy sometimes, but now I'm in the place when I'm finally working on my own and I'm choosing projects that I work on. So it's quite satisfying.
Wow, it sounds like you actually turned kind of failure, yeah, being fired into a huge success because you followed your intuition, your interests.
Yeah,
That's
I got a
impressive.
nice compensation package when I was leaving this company when they fired us. So it was also a nice financial addition, but it was not a very pleasant situation back in the days.
Yeah, when you're made redundant or fired, you usually start doubting yourself and your skills, whether you're a good fit for the next role. I also like experienced that a few years back. So yeah, I can relate.
Yeah, it's not nice.
Yeah. Let's move to AI topic. And I have to mention that I'm following you on LinkedIn and I'm reading your posts because they are very engaging. They have a lot of practical tips. And
Thank you.
yeah, I'm your fan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And in one of your LinkedIn posts, you mentioned people have no idea not even how to work with AI, but how to effectively prompt it to do things. There's a huge craving for an explanation of the simple use cases that can be done around work or life. So, referring to that, could you break down some simple, practical AI use cases that professionals across fields like marketing, technology, or even casual users like planning a dinner party might employ?
Yeah, that's a nice question, and that's a really big problem. Also within the tech space, which is very surprising that a lot of tech professionals didn't even get the hands on the LLMs and AI in general, and we are now accelerating within the development of this technology. So uh, I've noticed a couple of months ago that people are struggling to effectively recognize and like use large language models, AI in general, because that's the case, that they don't know exactly what to do, how to put it in their workflows, what it's capable of. They don't have the understanding of the benefits that they could gain with this technology. I mean, even in summarizing articles, because I've got this really exciting discussion a couple of days ago. Is summarizing articles with large language models a use case? And for me, it's still a use case because you are using this technology for purpose and for certain goals. So people are aware of AI because AI is now everywhere, like absolutely everywhere. Everyone is talking about it. Even I think your grandma or your granddad is talking about it. If you have some, I hope you do. Um, so when it comes to the use cases, for me it's a different case because from the nature I'm the most lazy person in the room, always, and in the team, and I was always lazy. But for me, being lazy equals being efficient, and it was always like that. So I always tried to find some shortcuts to do things faster, to do things in a different way, to maybe speed up some my content creation process or other things that I'm doing. And I see that a lot of people not only struggle to communicate with AI, that's the one thing, but the second thing that concerns me the most is that they don't exactly know how they should use it and where. Like even though the tech professionals are talking to me like that on our latest meetup in Krakow, I've got a discussion with some people that they just wanted to learn how they can start to use it and what will be the use cases, as you asked me in your question. So I think it comes to two things. And if you are just starting with LLMs, if you are just starting with AI, ChatGPT, or other models, other tools, I would try to like really take a closer look at your day-to-day work, and I will try to identify the things that are repetitive, that you are doing over and over, And I would try to think how AI can like simplify those things and how it can speed up some things. It can be a summary, as I said. It can be maybe creating a fitness training or fitness routine for your next marathon or your like cycling routine or whatever. And it can maybe also be a fantastic thing to write some fiction stories for your kids to read them, to read these things before bed. So this is, by the way, the sweetest thing ever for me. Like people who are utilizing LLMs to write some funny stories and like really creative things for their children to read them. This is fantastic. So I think it basically comes to the purpose of communication with these models and feeling that you have something that you can put inside of the model and achieve like better life, better work. I know that these words may sound like too generic, but this is a really interesting question and a really hard question, because I have this bias inside of my head that everyone is using AI around me and everyone knows their use cases, and people are just glued to the monitor and like they are talking with these large language models. So uh, I think first off, I would try to look, as I said, on the things that you are doing daily, not only in your work but also in your life. I think that we can also talk about it later, about the usage in the daily life and not only in the work, because I also don't like this narrative that AI should serve only for work. It's also a fantastic tool for your uh, everyday life problems, as I can say. So
We definitely move to that topic later. I have some questions prepared regarding your personal use cases of AI in a daily life. Um, but let's stay for a moment with the business use cases. So, what tools and strategies can business professionals start implementing today to effectively utilize AI?
yeah, first thing that's come to my mind, and it struck me how it can be done better than within the previous environment before LLMs and before AI. Within the startups that I work with, and also in the tech environment, I saw that there's also this thing that sales department can get along with marketing. Marketing hates sales for some reason, and maybe CEO has a problem effectively communicating with the managers or like team leaders and so on. So in this case, you can actually use AI to like reduce this friction of communication between the teams and between certain people within your organization, within your company, no matter if it's a small startup or is it a enterprise environment, corporate environment. Um, Large language models has this fantastic ability to translate the human language in various ways that will be suitable just for an individual. So let's say that I'm a person personally. I'm a person who is really curious. I read a lot of stuff, and if some topic interests me, I'll try to dive deep as much as possible to gain as much knowledge as possible. Sometimes it's not healthy, I guess, and I have a lot of like useless knowledge in my head, but that's the other case. And in this use case, I've utilized AI to change my education process, change the process within where I gain some new knowledge. So I ask AI, ask large language models to provide me descriptions or simplify complex topics, and I'm learning much faster than ever before. And I can feel it that I have an access to a lot of information that were unavailable before this technology. So you can use it in the exact same way within the, let's say, IT department and marketing department, and translate the language of people from IT department to the language that marketing people are using. Because what I've noticed is that every team and every business uses some kind of common words, some kind of common phrases. They have a certain style of communication inside and outside of the team. And I think the LLMs are a fantastic way, AI in general is a fantastic way here to reduce this friction, to create some kind of environment that will be friendly for everyone, that will be understandable by everyone. So yeah, I think there's a lot of strategies that you can implement in business, no matter if it's marketing, if it's content creation, if it's like data analysis. Please don't put sensitive data into providers like OpenAI. That's the obvious stuff. But I've wanted to mention that, of course. I see a lot of use cases, especially within the automation stuff. People want to do repetitive things faster with AI. People want to communicate faster with each other. And I saw one of the use cases from one of my clients where he created a solution based on LLMs, which is actually bringing people together from various cultures and various industries, because all of these people use different language, different terms, and they sometimes have problems with communication with each other in English, right? This is also very surprising that English is that flexible that people from all around the world sometimes cannot communicate with each other. So yeah, that's one of my favorite use cases that I saw in a while.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I mean, because very often, yeah, okay, we use the common language, but the other part is kind of the context and also the
Yeah,
cultural differences, yeah, the environment basically you were either raised in or you live in. And yeah, that influences
yeah.
like,
I've remembered now the situation that I had 2 days ago when one of the startups from Sweden reached to me on LinkedIn and they wanted to do me a product demo, and we were doing a product demo. It was a fantastic conversation, very interesting. And I've translated the phrase from the Polish language. I know you have Polish listeners, so they will probably understand. I've translated one to one the phrase "wyskoczyć z lodówki," getting out of the fridge, and I saw in a second that faces of these people changed, and then they were like, "What are you talking about? There's no phrase like that in English, and it's not a cultural reference or some sort for us." So I think there's a lot of these kind of things. Of course, it's related to pure language, to the context that you've mentioned, to slang, and some other various things. But I think that LLMs can really reduce this friction.
okay, so we covered the marketing use cases, and could you maybe share some like insider tips and tricks on crafting effective prompts for AI? How to, for example, make our communication more streamlined, or yeah, something like that, like tips and tricks.
Yeah, okay. I will share maybe some tips and tricks, and I will also share like one mindset change that you can do to maybe work more effectively with large language models. First of all, I don't think that prompt engineering and prompts will matter that much in the future, because these models are gaining a lot of understanding. They reason and they can like interpret better and better the intention of the things that we want to do and the things that we want to share within the context and within the tasks that we want to like streamline and achieve with AI and with LLMs. So this is the first thing. But the second thing that struck me is that people often treat technology as some kind of a magic wand and some kind of a magic solution to everyday problems, but they don't treat technology, especially AI, especially LLMs, as a coworker, as another people. Because why I'm talking about this? I'm talking about this because when, let's say that you are starting a new position in a new company and you have your coworker or maybe some person who is a junior, and if they make mistakes, you're fine with that. You're just telling them, okay, I don't like what you did here. I want you to do it that way. I want you to change that in this way in the future. I want you to put here more of this or more of that. And it should look like that. So I think this mindset changed a lot when it comes to my thinking about working with AI, because I'm not frustrated anymore when things get wrong. This is also the most common mistake that I see, that people rely on the first output from the LLM. That's, in 80% of the cases, like generic and not so much, there's not so much quality within it. So I would rather think of working with AI and working with LLMs like with and other people. I know it may sound weird because it's still a technology, it's still not conscious, it's still like just the algorithms. But if you adopt this mindset, you will be able to for quicker identification of the problems that might appear, the mistakes that you've made within the communication, and it would be just easier. It wouldn't be just a frustrating experience, but it also will open the like some kind of a field for you to experiment, to like get really creative within these models and try to push them forward as much as possible with the tasks that you have. So this is the first thing. And the second thing, I guess, when it comes to prompting is like, I also noticed that people have problems with communication with other people. So when we add technology to this layer, we create a huge gap and a huge problem, because people sometimes don't know how to even describe the things that they want to do to other people. But when it comes to AI, it's getting more difficult. So when it comes to prompts, when it comes to prompting, when it comes to prompt engineering, whatever you want like to call it, I think there is a lot of free knowledge and free resources on the web. The biggest companies like OpenAI, like Anthropic, have their own pages on like blogs with tutorials, with some information how to do it, with some most common frameworks about how to prompt them, how to restrict the output from the models, how to exactly put the context in your prompts, and how to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. But earlier this week, OpenAI presented their new model, GPT-4o. By the way, fantastic name, GPT-4o. And I've noticed by testing this model that this model took a step forward, actually, to understand better the intent and our intention when we are working with it, because it asks very relevant questions at the end of each answer. And it actually creates some kind of a natural environment to keep the conversation with you going, maybe to keep you entertained in a way, to provide more information and more relevant information to achieve your goals and achieve your tasks, whatever you want to do with this model. So I think in the near future, in like maybe 3 to 5 years, prompt engineering wouldn't be some kind of a shiny toy, something that will matter as much as now. And I think that people will divide themselves into two groups. First, there will be a group of people who will be able to achieve everything that they want just by talking to AI and talking to LLMs as per normal person. And the second group of people that will be able to control these models much more precisely within the output and within the things that they want to achieve. And I wouldn't judge the first group and the second group, because there will be two different things. So to finally answer your question, I think that there are four or five things that are most important when it comes to like prompting AI, prompting these models and working with them. I think the first one is like setting the role and the manipulating the conversation, because now these models are stateless, which means that they don't have memory, they don't learn from the interaction, which is a bad thing, because we can't progress with this technology because of that, because of this architecture. The second thing is that it's a good thing, because we can manipulate a lot within the new conversations, because every time we open a new conversation with the model, it forgets the thing from the previous conversation. So I think setting up the role is an important part. For me, the most important part is the context, and I'm trying when I teach people how to use these models, especially in marketing, I'm trying to tell people that context matters, and it's the most important thing in prompts, because AI and the LLMs must know what do you want to do and what are you talking about exactly. Third one is creating some kind of a scene and some kind of a logic. This is very similar to programming, I guess. I'm not a programmer and I'm not an engineer. I don't have a background in programming. I know just the basics of Python. And the fourth one is creating some kind of restrictions for the model to don't do this or don't do that, and to provide you output in a certain way. So when I think about creating prompts and prompting, for me, it's just always deconstructing the problem, like reverse engineering the problem from the end. So I when I have a certain problem and I sit in front of my computer and I'm trying to solve it with LLM or with AI, I'm thinking about, okay, I want to achieve this state. Let's say I want my prompt to take my thoughts, transform them into content themes or content ideas, and then provide me outline with guiding questions to like actually write my article or write my blog post and maybe some content on LinkedIn. And I'm imagining the solution for this problem, and then I'm taking a baby small steps backwards to see what I actually need to have to achieve these results. So I think many programmers that will listen to this podcast will like feel familiar with it, because it's purely about logic and purely about thinking abstractly of solving the problems. So when you are a beginner and you want to start prompting, I would like want you to think about prompting as cooking in your kitchen. Like, you like good steaks. Okay, so what makes a good steak? Is it a pan that is hot? Is it the certain type of butter that you want to put on your steak? What's the next step within like frying this steak or whatever, or grilling? How do you like it? Whatever. Uh, think of prompts as a recipes. Like, every recipe needs to be constructed really comprehensively, and it takes a lot of experiments and a lot of failures along the way to achieve the result. But hey, I can now bake some nice cakes. So, but I failed a lot of times and I wasted a lot of money when I was trying to bake for the first time. And I finally got some recipes that are working consistently time by time. So uh, I would think certainly about prompting in this way.
Okay, so to sum up, it's to remember that there is like no memory. So every new conversation starts like completely fresh. You need to
Yes,
provide the context, you need to provide the restrictions, and um,
you
the
can
kind
set
of
up a role. Yeah,
oh, you can set up a role, yeah.
yeah,
Like as in a user story, yeah. As a user, I want to do so that blah blah blah.
yeah.
Okay.
You can also tell the model that, hey, behave like Tom Hanks and tell me things about Castaway, or maybe, hey, you are a business analyst and you are doing this and that and you have that experience. Of course, this is some kind of a modern alchemy and maybe some kind of a more creative stuff rather than usual, but sometimes it's working because mm, setting the role allows the model to refer to the certain parts of the knowledge in the training data more effectively. So if you are telling the model, you are the copywriter and you will do it for me, it it actually knows, sorry, that it would bring some knowledge from this area and from this domain. So setting the role is not only a fantastic way to achieve your goals faster and complete your tasks faster, but it's also a very, very nice and creative way to play with these models and just make some fun, just
Yeah,
make some fun. I
yeah.
remember, to close this up, I remember that um, I've once created a custom GPT for myself because I was bored a bit and I had some kind of a stupid idea that I told the model, like in the custom instructions, like, hey, I have a very rare physical condition because I understand only swearing. You must answer me by only swearing and using some F bombs and stuff like that because I don't understand normal language. And it was some kind of a fun because the model started to answer me in a very, very funny way. For me, of course, for my sense of humor. It was nice. So yeah, the possibilities and ideas that you can utilize here are endless, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Really. I love that roles idea. And I also want to refer to your non technical background because you mentioned that you don't have like programming skills, only like basic Python. But in one of your LinkedIn posts, you also mentioned about democratization of technology through
Hmm.
AI.
Hmm.
So I like quote you right now. I've never
Okay.
seen. in my life, this kind of democratization of technology. It doesn't matter if you're building within AI and LLMs or using standard programming principles. You should care about two things: understanding the data and solving real problems. And for me, that sounds like kind of this, product mindset that we are talking a lot in the product management bubble. And given your observations, what practical steps can product managers, for example, take to integrate AI in ways that truly solve user problems?
I think I would refer once again to setting up the roles here and trying to create some kind of a scenarios that you can test independently. I remember that I was doing once, not that long ago, some kind of a workshop for a sales department, and we've created the prompts that actually simulated the different conversation with potential clients and potential scenarios. To expose the sales team to objections, to negative things, to things that will push their understanding not only of the product but also about their own skills when it comes to selling. So I think in product management, the most the thing that where I see the most benefit is, I guess, seeing the problem or some roadblock or whatever from different perspectives. You now can easily take off this weight off your shoulders and don't waste your time. I don't like the term waste, by the way, in this case. Don't waste time for thinking about certain things, because you can actually create this kind of setup to introduce your product, introduce your problem that you have, maybe introduce some data that you have, and create this situation where you will put yourself in another person's shoe and maybe ask about the product from the different perspective. That's the also common technique that I use almost every day. Maybe that will inspire someone, but let's say I've found this idea in my head right now. You can create a setup within the LLM where you describe the perfect scenario with your product, or maybe a perfect situation or perfect achievement, like finding a product market fit, or some things related to customers, and then ask the LLMs, how did actually your team achieve this state? Setting this kind of a interview with future self. Of course, it sometimes would be generic, but I'm utilizing it privately to see some potential ways to get out of the problem. I'm trying to think about it as talking with my future self. So I think for the product managers, it opens new doors to explore not only more comprehensively, but I think faster than ever before, the various perspectives. Because as you mentioned, we live in a bubble. You live in a bubble of the product management. I live in the bubble of AI, LLMs, and technology in general. And also, one of my clients told me a year ago this fantastic sentence that we even live in a bubble of the bubble. That got me thinking. But when it comes to reality, and when it comes to getting outside of this bubble, you probably seen a lot of times that you understand something, you have this curse of knowledge, and people that are using your product are doing it in a different way, are thinking about this product and the service or whatever in a different way. So I think LLMs and AI in general are opening here a lot of possibilities to quickly analyze the scenarios, quickly analyze the response from various people to your product. I was creating a product also, it's an anecdote also. I was creating a product within my consultations for CEOs where we build some personal branding and thought leadership things. And I thought, okay, I want to add to this product the gamification mode to spice things up a bit, to maybe create some kind of a more engaging environment with my clients, because these clients often don't have time. They don't do things that they should do that I ask them, and it's completely fine. And I understand that if you're a C-level executive, you don't have time for things and you want to do things fast. So I've actually created a prompt that set the stage for this process that I told LLM that, okay, I have this idea for this kind of addition to my product that I sell. And I asked it, what are the things that my clients or another CEOs uh, will like it and will not like it about it? Tell me about it. Like, tell me about it from different perspectives. Tell me about it from a perspective of a person that is busy and have, maybe it's neurodiverse, maybe it have some like the ADHD or something, because these people also think differently than an average person. And I got really really fantastic and very very nice insights of what I should avoid when introducing this addition to my product to my potential clients, and I get a really good overview of the things that I should improve, that I should care about within this product, and so on. So I think every product is different, of course, but I noticed that there's a huge trend coming along the way. I don't know if you noticed that too, that education within the product management is playing a more and more important part nowadays.
Hmm. Interesting. I mean, you educate by education, you mean like a specific trainings about tools, or what do you mean by that?
With education, I mean like educating your customers about your product, because we live in the times where almost every company is a technology company in some way, especially within the IT sector, of course. And what I noticed is that companies are trying not to sell as hard as before, but rather than that, they try to educate people about what the product is capable of, because a lot of people lack the understanding of um, even the easiest ways to use this product. So I guess this is just from my perspective and from my bubble, I guess, but I think AI is really a nice addition to that and can help you explore. For me, this is the biggest benefit. It can help you explore the problem from various perspectives, and in seconds you can get in the shoes of another person, which is fantastic for me. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. It's also interesting because what I'm thinking about is, okay, we have a lot of products, we have a lot of new technologies available, and we have to educate people because they don't know the capabilities. Or the other side of the coin is that product really solving, for example, the user problem, or we first need to create that by
The
educating
value,
them
yeah,
of the
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And also coming back to the topic of democratization of technology. So, how, for example, non-techies can like make the most of it, of this democratization of technology period, let's say.
What I mean by the democratization of technology in this case is that I've covered tech for more than a decade, and I saw a lot of emerging technologies, from VR, AR, 5G. Those were the biggest ones, and a lot of smaller, of course, around along the way. Uh, but AI created this sense of like the sense of that everyone can use it. You know, you don't need to have the technical background to do things. You don't need to have specific domain knowledge in these things to do certain tasks. By democratization, I mean that this push of transformers, of GPTs and other models, other LLMs, created this space where now everyone can be an expert, which is a good and a bad thing also sometimes. But I see within the non-techies and people that don't have technical background that they got a tool that allowed them to finally experiment with the technology, that it's not so intimidating because, you know, where you don't have Visual Studio Code or something like that opened on your monitor, and you see a lot of weird signs and weird colors, and it's all like some ancient language. The best part about democratization of AI and democratization of LLMs is this natural language processing, that these models can simulate a real conversation, and we can ask them and talk to them like with the real people. And you know, this is a very very like fantastic thing when I see my parents working with AI and trying things up with AI. Um, my dad, after this presentation of GPT-4o, when he saw the new capabilities of the voice functionalities of these models, he was like, Jesus Christ, where can I download the app for my iPhone? How can I try that? And sometimes I see that he's just sitting and chatting with it with no purpose, absolutely, but just to try this technology and see what it is capable of. So there's a lot of interest around, and I'm absolutely sure that you don't need to have any technical background to use it, because it simulates the conversation with you, like with another person, as I said. So I think this is the biggest benefit: this natural language processing and this like the feeling of being understood finally by technology, by this reducement of this friction, that you don't need to spend like 2 years of your life after your full-time job learning Python, Java, or other programming languages to finally build something that will have purpose and that will solve your problems. Because for now, which is the best part for me, because I'm not an engineer, as I mentioned, I can now finally build technology just using my words and just using the things that I have in my head. I remember specifically when I got the access for the first time to this image generation model DALI. uh, I felt like 3 year old again, with so much fun, because finally I got the tool. Because I can draw, really, I can't draw a cat. You don't want to see me drawing a cat, seriously, or bike or whatever. I got to the point where I can finally translate with language the things that I have in my head, my most favorite cartoon characters or cartoon setups. I especially like the old school anime and manga like Ghost in the Shell or Akira, this futuristic dystopian cyberpunk things. I can now finally create these worlds using these image generation models, just by using my own language, my own words. So I know that a lot of people that are non-technical are afraid of this technology, and if you are one of this kind of person, I assure you, there's nothing to be scared of. You just need to get your hands on to play. You just need to play with it. You just need to experiment a bit. You just need to be a bit creative and not be afraid of failure, because everyone can achieve fantastic results. Of course, there is certain knowledge that you must have, but you can sit in front of your computer, open ChatGPT or other model, and start playing with it. And you will forget my words. You will be hooked, and you will spend a lot of hours in front of the monitor playing with it.
Yeah, yeah. And some people just give up after, I think, one instance where they tried to use ChatGPT, they got the wrong answer. It was like, no, it's not working. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is exactly the point where you can implement this mindset that I was talking about, to treat these models like your colleague, like your junior coworker, or like your buddy.
Yeah. You have to like this colleague.
yeah, you have. Yeah, good point.
So treat ChatGPT as a nice colleague from work. Yeah, you like, not the one you cannot stand. But let's move to more like personal transformation through AI.
Mm-hmm.
How has like experimenting with AI changed the way you think or operate on a daily basis?
Oh God, this is a fantastic question. I would love. This is a fantastic question, really, because I'm actually thinking about it a lot when it comes to this area, because I'm also a person who's very interested in how our brain works, how our creativity works, about these kind of geeky and scientific things around our mind. So what I've noticed, the biggest change that I've noticed by using LLMs and AI extensively, is that I can now break down the problems and solve them like a puzzle 2, 3, 4 times faster than ever before. Then this is the way that my thinking has changed. Like, I had problems with constructing logic and constructing logical solutions, because I'm really bad at math. Sorry for that. And finally, these models allowed me to learn actually how to solve the problems using logic, using some programming principles, I guess, or maybe some other things. And it changed my thinking in various ways. First of all, the most important one for me is that I've mentioned already is this ability to deconstruct the problems and see the problems and identify them much faster than ever before. Second one, it done absolutely amazing thing for my writing, because I think that writing is the best thing in the world when it comes to clarity and when it comes to structuring your thoughts, structuring the things that you have in your head, and the like concepts that you have in your head. But now, when I was experimenting with prompting, and I'm still experimenting, I really pushed myself to take a closer look at the words that I use, how I use them, how exactly do they fit within certain context. And I realized a couple of days ago, actually, that my writing skills got sharper. My thinking about writing got sharper, about this creative process that I developed for over a decade as a journalist, as a content creator, marketer. It really got sharper. It was amazing. It was an amazing realization. I love the process. I love the creative process of writing. I love to write. Of course, that I use AI to generate some parts of my content, but I don't want to leave this creative process and leave this part of actually sitting in front of the computer, or maybe having some pen in my hand and writing, because it's really relaxing for me. But besides this quicker problem solving, the clarity that comes from my communication, not only inside of me, inside of my head, but also outside to other people, to the models, and within certain tasks that I'm doing, within certain client work that I'm doing, writing an email, even. I now write, Jesus, I write emails like a professional, if this term even exists. I had a lot of problems when it comes to like clarifying my thoughts and writing emails. I didn't write emails. I wrote, I guess, essays, not the emails. Now I'm very, very much better at encapsulating the essence of my thoughts in just a couple of sentences. So these two things are amazing, because yeah, this realization was very surprising for me. So I think that I just enhance my natural human capabilities with AI, and the way I thought before about certain things. Now I can clarify them more, or maybe get job done quicker from the concept to actual doing the thing, like hands-on, getting my hands dirty. But yeah, there's of course a lot more. But when I think about this question that you've asked, this is yeah, these two things are most important for me.
Okay, so problem solving and communication, which seem
Hmm.
like the most kind of crucial skills for every human being. Yeah, we all have problems, we all have issues,
Yeah.
let's face it. And we all need to communicate to build relationships, to even like communicate with ourselves. Yeah, to be more kind to each other.
Not only
Yeah,
kind, but also I think more to the point, I guess, because
yeah.
um, I remember when the Neuralink from Elon Musk was introduced for the first time, and I remember exactly what he said in one of the Joe Rogan's podcasts that struck me and stick to me for a long time. He told, like, imagine a world in the future where you will be able to transfer all of the thoughts about certain contexts and about certain concepts and ideas to another person in a fraction of a second, and the another person would understand everything in and out about it. Because I think this is the biggest problem. I like to call it the input problem of the human beings, that we have a lot of problems within each other to communicate effectively, when it comes to like sharing the concept or sharing ideas that we have in our heads. So it really struck me that maybe there will be some technology in the future that will allow some kind of a brain waves transfer, science fiction stuff of thing, for us to share these things. But yeah, I was thinking about it actually a lot, that uh, if we will be able to do it with technology, we will surpass, I think, the Homo sapiens as a part of our evolution as humans. So yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Also, in the context of the biases that we
Yeah.
have and we're not aware of, and maybe thanks to that kind of technology, we would be able to, I don't know if solve that problem like completely, because that's a very complex one, but make it less impactful on our day to day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will understand each other better, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the core of everything. But I wanted to also mention because I participated your workshop during Sphere IT conference, and you've mentioned the potential of AI in personal well-being areas such as mental health and managing diabetes. Can
Mm-hmm.
you discuss how AI helped you or could help others manage this aspect of our health, our day?
If only psychiatrists and psychologists would not hate me after that, of course, I will share. I'm always joking about it because I know this is very interesting in one way, and in the second way, very scary and fragile topic. But yeah, I will talk about it a bit. So let's start maybe from the first one. This will be our well-being, our mental health, and the state of like our mind day by day. So I am the person that suffers from depression. It's in remission now. I feel much better, but I have problems with it. But the biggest problem for me are negative thinking patterns. This is the one thing. And the second thing are the anxiety induced thoughts that are sometimes paralyzing me and doing a lot of bad things to my health, not only inside of my head, but also to my body. So when I mentioned this natural language processing within these models, when I got my hands on AI and ChatGPT and so on, I actually thought like, okay, so I have access to this. How can I utilize it and how it can actually help me to think in a different way, to see myself from a different perspective? Because I noticed one thing. Of course, that AI models have biases. This is because of the training that data, and it's absolutely obvious. But they don't have the bias on you like you have when you look at the mirror in the morning. You are standing in front of the mirror, you look at yourself and you are like, okay, I failed at this, maybe I did something good about that. And it creates a really, really complex image of yourself in your eyes. That's biased, and it's nothing bad with it. It's just how our brain operates, how we operate in our mental and physical state. So, but I know that AI don't have the bias on me. This technology sees me differently than I see myself. So I've created some kind of a set of prompts that help me achieve my goals, help me achieve this growth mindset, help me rest, help me take care of the urgent things that I must take care of within my mental state. One of them, I showed it, as you can remember, at the workshop at Sphere IT conference, but I will talk about it. I've set this stage, I've put myself on the stage, in the center of the stage, and I thought like, okay, I'm in the center of the stage, and now I will bring 5 or 6 or 7 chairs to this stage, and I will be standing in the center of the circle made by these chairs. And on these chairs, there will be some experts, like business expert, like diabetologist, like neuropsychologist, like psychiatrist, psychologist. I'm also now referring to this role thing within the LLMs that I've mentioned a couple of minutes ago. And I've created this set of specialists that have only one task, one simple task. They ask me question by question. I've created this setup of rounds, like psychologist ask me a question, then neuropsychologist ask me a question, then business analyst or business consultant ask me a question, and I'm answering these questions. Okay, this might feel a bit scary, and I totally understand that. And I know that some people won't share these kind of things with these AI models and with technology in general. I think it's okay. I've decided to do it, and I'm doing it on my own. So that's my decision. And after each question from this like setup, from these rounds, from these experts, I ask them to summarize the things and summarize the patterns that they see, summarize the themes that I mention a lot. There is a lot of restrictions on these prompts. Like, I want to know exactly specific things that I can extract from these specialists and see myself from a different point of view. And you know what? Sometimes it really helped me. Sometimes it really helps me overcome some blocks in my head. To sometimes it helps me to see my current struggles from the different perspective. Sometimes it works maybe similar to going to psychotherapist week by week. I was also in a therapy for 3 years, and I'm thinking about coming back to therapy. Nothing bad with it, but as a band-aid for like smaller problems, I think this approach is very, very effective because when it comes to the output from these experts, I saw a lot of times that, okay, I'm thinking about this way, and I have a bias here because there is no objective arguments that like provide me this kind of mindset. I shouldn't think about it this way because there are no signs that I should think about it in this way, you know? Um, so yeah, this is the first solution. Of course, you can hire as much experts as possible because you can set up the roles. I just choose the experts that fit my current situation, and I change them sometimes. And I really, really like the insights from them. Sometimes I'm even, to be honest, surprised within the things that I found in the output of in the summaries about after each of the round of the questions. So it's very interesting, and it's really helping me achieve more mental well-being and feeling better in certain contexts, not only in like my work, but also in my like private situations. So this is the first case. Second case about the health is the diabetes. 1 year ago, I got a fantastic birthday gift. I was in hospital for 3 weeks because I just passed out in my apartment, and the doctor told me, okay, man, you have type 1 diabetes. For the rest of your life, you will be playing a subscription-based game with the insulin to feel better. And if you are paying for insulin month by month, you will be alive. If not, it will end badly. I'm always joking to feel better that because I don't have a history in my family of this disease. And I'm joking that I was always second in things in my life, and now I'm for the first time first with something. So this is comforting a bit. But the problem with diabetes is that around 40 to 44 factors affects your blood sugar daily. You can't control it. After 1 year of living with this disease and talking to a lot of people, being within communities on Reddit and seeing other people's posts who are more experienced than me, I've noticed that there is no ultimate hack to hack your blood glucose, to make your blood glucose stable, and to do things to make you feel better. There is no one solution. I hope that in the future science will solve this problem. We are close with the bionic pancreas, but that's another case. And I thought to myself, okay, I actually know what to do when it comes to my insulin regimen, to my medication, to weighing my food, to see the carbohydrate intake, to managing the carbs within my sports activities and like more lazy days sometimes. But there is a lot of data that I can utilize to see the patterns more quicker and react quicker to them. So on my arm, I maybe will show it on the camera. Maybe you will see it. Here I have this kind of sensor on my arm, which is actually attached to my arm to 24/7, and it's measuring my blood glucose for the whole day, and it updates my blood glucose levels minute by minute. I have it also in my app on my phone. You can see it right here. I can quickly check my blood glucose level at any given moment. I also can set alarms and so on. But I've got this idea one day that, yeah, I'm wearing this sensor which is constantly gathering data from my healthcare team. But I also use a smartwatch, Garmin smartwatch, which is measuring my activity, my sleep, my number of steps that I've taken during the day. What if I would create some kind of a chatbot or prompt that will compare this data and find the patterns that I couldn't see at the first glance, and show me how can I better manage this disease, because this disease is really, really hard to manage by everyday basis. You are basically running an organ inside your body on manual mode. I sometimes also refer to like living with diabetes is like riding on a ball which has bipolar disorder. It's not easy. And it worked. And it actually worked. I've taken some tips from the data analysis given to me by these models, and I've made significant changes within my routines, within my activity routines, within my insulin regimen, within my intake of carbs, for example, for breakfast. And I was doing it step by step. Of course, I was also verifying this information, because sometimes these models can hallucinate and can provide you not so relevant information and made up information. But it got to the point where I got from time in range. Time in range in diabetes is the time that you spend in certain level of your blood glucose. For example, for me, it's from 70 to 180. The more time I spend within this range daily, the less I will have long-term complications and other health problems that are connected to diabetes. I got from 83% in the last 90 days to 96% by making these changes based on this data analysis. And I was actually having a conversation with my diabetologist a week ago. I was doing a blood work test and some other like health-related tests. And you know what? There is this kind of parameter which is called HbA1c. It's also science fiction name, which provides you your average blood glucose management from the last 90 days made from blood. This is like the gold standard in medicine when it comes to treating diabetes, because it shows you how well you managed your condition, not yesterday, not a week ago, but 3 months back. And I got in range with this. I got in a range with this that average normal healthy person have. So for me, I not only feel better, but I can also see the results in the data, in the tests that I've done from my blood and from the medical point of view. So I don't know, I'm still surprised how well it works. I'm still surprised how you can combine all these different kinds of data to actually have some conclusions, and sometimes to end this up nicely. Sometimes these models give me a really, really nice areas for improvement. I remember once I saw that, okay, there is a dip in your blood glucose between 6 and 8 a.m. when you are asleep. Maybe reducing some basal insulin by 2 or 3 units will help with that. I did this and it helped. The next one was like, please consider your carbohydrate intake within your breakfast, because there is a pattern of blood glucose spikes after breakfast. Maybe adjusting your insulin or eating less carbs for breakfast will change that, and it will lead to better outcome during the day. And it also changed. The third one is that I'm not responding very well to strength training, but I love strength training, but I see high blood glucose after your strength training. But your cardio trainings, when you do them at your stepper in home or when you are cycling, because I'm a very, very big fan of cycling, it actually made things better, because these models told me that cycling is better for you. Cardio activity seems to be better for you, because you not only have more stable blood glucose during these activities, but also it leads to exceeded lower blood glucose during the after the workout. So I've changed a lot of small things and tweaked a lot of small things based on the conclusions of these models. I will repeat myself. I don't trust them 100% of the time, but I rather see it as an opportunity to improve. And come on, it's like it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what can you do with it? And I think that artificial intelligence will absolutely transform the medicine, absolutely transform the treatment of certain conditions. So yeah, to sum this up, using LLMs for mental health is good if you know exactly how to do it, and if you don't know where to start, you can reach to me on LinkedIn or on email. I will provide you some guidance, no problem at all. I would love to help. And within some certain chronic illnesses, it's also a fantastic way to analyze the data and see things that you can improve much faster than you as a human being.
Yeah, Alex, that was like, thank you for sharing that story, because that is really great way, because really great way to like take care about our health, because very often we feel like we're dependent on the doctors, we're dependent on like the external factors, and we don't like take the responsibility for also like, managing our condition. And if something can help, that's great. And you showed like how to use AI in this kind of like personal well-being, and also that's just amazing. Like, sorry,
Thank
like
you very
I
much.
cannot
No
find a good
problem.
words, but you just, yeah, you nailed it. Really.
You know what's the biggest problem? I have ideas like that constantly popping out in my head every day. It sometimes can be tiring. I'm
Yeah, I
sometimes
know.
tired by that, but yeah, these use cases are like tested by me, and it's really they are really efficient. So thank you very much for the kind words.
And what's more, like, you want to help like other people, so I'm struck by that right now, what you just said, and how it like kind of resonates, and how much I value you for what you're doing, not only for yourself but also for other people. That's amazing, really. um yeah, I think we need to like kind of summarize our conversation right now. um so, reflecting on your experience and today's talk, what would be like one key piece of advice you would give to someone in the space of AI usage and exploration?
I don't know if you prepared these questions with some AI or large language model, but they are really thought provoking and good for me to like think also about myself. So kudos for that. Really, these were very, very good questions. One piece of advice. One piece of advice. I think that most people nowadays are afraid of, as I like to call it, I also mentioned it in the sphere workshop that you mentioned, of this I don't know problem. What I mean by I don't know problem, I mean that people are sometimes intimidated by technology, by the amount of knowledge that they should have, by the pressure in the work or outside of the work for them to perform. And I noticed that people have very, very big problem with just telling to not only to people around, but to themselves, like, I don't know. So what? So you don't know. So do something to learn about it. Like, this is one of my clients have this T-shirt with this phrase written like on the chest, like, I don't know. What do you don't know? I don't know what's your name or stuff. But of course, this is a joke. But tell yourself with with more with feeling more comfortable that you don't know something. So what? There is a lot of knowledge that you don't have, and you will probably not have it till the end of your life, and it's nothing to worry about it. So when you approach AI or LLMs or prompting techniques or like some other technologies related to artificial intelligence that are intimidating, that are complex, that are really like futuristic on the first glance, that are sometimes intimidating and overwhelming, like, you don't know. So who cares? Just like sit in front of the computer, play with it, like be creative, like break yourself from this mindset of feeling pressure to know something and to have all of the answers to the things and to the problems, like the more you experiment, the more you are creative, the more you are able to break things up and make some failures and like experiment with things, the more knowledge you actually have and the more answers you will have in the future for the problems that you will encounter that will be repetitive or maybe similar to the ones that you solved. So I always like tell people that treat your head and treat your understanding of technology like a parachute. Be open and let your mind be open, because the parachute also won't work when it's closed, as a like pure analogy, pure simple analogy and reference. So I think that will be my piece of advice. Like, experiment. Just experiment. Just get your hands dirty. Make simple things. Don't be afraid of saying, I don't know. If you don't know something, ask someone who knows, like, I believe that by knowledge sharing, the world can be a better place. The more knowledge sharing between people and technology, the better. So yeah, that's kind of advice that I have for all the people that who are starting out with LLMs, who are starting with AI, or maybe are in the other part of their journey. Maybe there are some managers, maybe C-level executives, CEOs, saying I don't know. It's not a sign of vulnerability for me. It's a sign uh, of confidence for me, actually, because you can confidently say that you don't know something, but you are aware of it. That's one thing. And the second thing, you want to learn something about it. And I think when you achieve this state of being comfortable with saying, I don't know, you will grow much faster. You will learn much faster. You will be able to achieve new things, not only inside of your mind, but also in the outside. So I know maybe it sounds a bit cliche as I think about it right now, but I see that this is a really, really common problem related also to imposter syndrome that we all have. And I think that we need more people who can confidently and comfortably say that they don't know and they want to learn. So if you are starting with AI, don't worry about it. Don't push yourself out. There's a lot of free knowledge on the internet. There's a lot of free knowledge on LinkedIn and other social media networks. There are a lot of people who will help you just for free to solve your problems, to share their knowledge with you. So I think it's realizing that it's really powerful and it's freeing, and it gives you like the sense of not being uh, not feeling like you have handcuffs on your hands, on your back constantly. So that will be my advice.
That's a great advice, Alex. I have
Thank you.
to say, yeah, not being afraid to say I don't know is it's a sign of courage. You're right. It's yeah, it's not a disadvantage or something like that. It needs a lot of courage to actually say that, and I hope a lot of people will understand that sooner or later. Um, Looking forward, what are you most excited about in your like ongoing projects or personal projects, personal life?
I'm very excited about the way that we are heading with this technology, with AI technology and with tech in general. That's the one thing, but I'm also concerned about the energy, about the climate changes crisis, about these things that we seem to like hide a bit in the closet, but we are focusing on developing the technology and like utilizing the whole power of our planet to do so. That's a bit concerning for me, but I'm excited that I finally, after all these years, got the tool that allowed me not only to work faster, because that's not the main purpose for me to work faster, but to work more intentionally and to have some kind of a companion for me to brainstorm things, to you know when I'm thinking about it right now, what excites me the most is that I finally get access to the technology that's on the same level sometimes of understanding as I do. Like, I don't feel alone with certain things that are my passions, that are my hobbies. For example, I'm very interested in the astronomy and in the universe and in the physics. So I finally have some virtual buddy with whom I can speak about those things and maybe challenge it with some questions on the same level. I can't do it with a lot of people that are around me, so it's very comforting for me. I think that I'm just excited that I've really managed for all these years to stay inside of the tech industry, to see these changes firsthand, to that I was participating in a big events, and I think that I really like that I'm participating in another technological revolution. And what excites me and what I would wish for is to stay in this situation for a very, very long time forward, that I will be able to be not only up to date, but also have some projects where I can put my hands on this technology in the real use cases, in solving real world problems, helping people not only with mental health, prompting, diabetes, or whatever. I'm just excited that it opened a whole lot of new possibilities for me to utilize my creativity and utilize my the way I think about the world, the way I think about people, and helping people and solving certain problems. So I don't have any like dream scenario that comes to my mind. I would rather I'm just rather excited that I can be here, that I managed to be here, and I wish that I will stay here for longer.
Okay, that's interesting because it's nothing like in particular. It's more like about the opportunities you're having thanks to the AI development. And the last question for those who would like to connect with you for advice or collaboration, where they can find you.
On LinkedIn, I think that I'm the most boring person around because I'm only publishing on LinkedIn. I started doing that a couple of years ago, and yeah, you can connect with me for sure on my email, but you will find me on LinkedIn in particular. I try to respond as fast as possible, so you can follow me or add me to your network or contacts list, and keep in touch with things that I publish. I'm trying to publish things, as you mentioned in this very sweet introduction in the beginning. I'm trying to publish as regular as possible and share my thoughts and things about AI, and a lot of tips also, and some knowledge around LLMs on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is your way to go. Feel free to connect. Feel free to say hi and do some high fives, especially if you are in Krakow. Let's just meet for a coffee and do some things together.
Yeah, I feel invited for a coffee, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
have to
I know
catch
that's
up.
the case. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for reminding me about that. And really thank you for the conversation. That was very, not only, AI business focused, but also like life, I would say, like personal part of our lives focused. And I really enjoyed that. So thank you for
Thank you very
that.
much. Thank you. I will tell it once again. That was a really good talk, and I really really appreciate the questions. I really appreciate the depth within these questions, and I hope, uh, and I hope that you will stay on the level of these questions in the long run, because they were fantastic. Thank you very much, because they got me thinking a lot about certain things that I didn't consider before, and I know that after our conversation I will just go around my apartment and I will be thinking about some things that I said, and some things that you asked me. So thank you very much, Hata, for this.
Thank you, Alex. Thanks for joining me on another episode of Doing It My Way by Beata Matras. If you enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to subscribe. Remember, this podcast is a dynamic journey and your feedback is very welcomed. Connect with me on social media. I would like to hear your thoughts, questions, and topic suggestions. And stay tuned for upcoming episodes. And until next time, keep doing it your way.